I just had to give a moment of silence because Queen Quet has left a comment on my YouTube. So you got to think about it. When your boy does really good work, really deep research, and he catches you in a lie or multiple lies, and lies which constitute indigenous erasure of our people, probably best you sit it out and not engage with your boy. But you want to say that you think it's best if I let your story be told by you instead of me telling what I find. Because one thing I do pay attention to as I go throughout history is every little thing that changes from point A to B, from primary source and afterwards. And when I don't notice a change in the name Geechee until it gets to you and you say it's Geechee, and the YT lady in here almost said the Geechee people, but it had been spelled Geechee and it was spelled Geechee before, it starts to show malice. Like, why did you change it? Why did you change it to a word that has a G in it to make it sound similar to Geechee? And first of all, y'all try to make it sound similar. Well, Geechee sounds like Geechee. Then it's actually Gidzi, G-I-D-Z-I, and it not only sounds like it, but now it looks like it too, right?
And then you had from the same region, the Geechee people, G-I-D-Z-I, which Geechee, which we spell now G-E-E-C-H-E-E, came out of.
Now let's just ignore the fact that where the people live and has been a river for 11,500 years called Geechee, spelled exactly in succession of letters as what the Geechee people call themselves. Now you gotta think, why am I so angry about it? Why does it matter that Queen Quet changed it to the Geechee and the Geechee and the blah blah blah? Well, as I've showed in newspapers, the first time you ever see the words Gullah and Geechee combined is in 1946. Why is that important? Because prior to that, you can see 1800s people being called Geechee coons or Geechee buried by the count and other things, dude named Big Geechee, people directly calling themselves a Geechee, never Gullah. And I also showed how they use Gullah by itself in old newspapers, mostly to make fun of how people talk. They even made whole albums making fun of how you talk and called it Gullah. They didn't call it Geechee.
But rather than the folks will live a full distance from one another and hardly to see one another. But rather gone to a folks' house one night and thief a folks' cow and take her home and kill him. He sells some to meat and he hide the other rest. He hang up in the smokehouse.
But see, it wasn't until somebody like this guy making stuff up as well who decided to put the Gullah and the Geechee together to a degree. In his book, he only mentions the word Geechee 2 times. Okay? And he attributes Gullah from coming from Ngola and maybe talks about Geechee, but in that book, he even shows the word Geechee. But then it wasn't until also this guy kind of got in office and solidified things by giving away about a $10 million grant that is being paid out over the course of some years, which I'm sure you're getting a little chip off of that for them, history manipulative type things you're doing. But It wasn't until he came in here to start putting more money into it till it started getting more steam with this whole Gullah Geechee thing. And even in here, he had Gullah and Geechee kind of separated. And people wanted to say, oh, it's separate. It's a separate thing. But then it's still together. But then you slowly put it together. Funny how y'all put Gullah in the front versus Geechee on the far right, right? And then it's even more funny that now you're trying to say Geechee doesn't even come from America. So what does that do? It literally erases the indigenous name out of the naming structures. Well, you've already erased the indigenous tribes' names. You've already erased the Kusabos, the people of the Kusabo kingdom. You've already erased the Ashipus, the Kusas, the Hoyas, the Ituans, the Kusas, the Kiowas, the Mayans, the Stonos, the Wimbis, and the other 500 tribes that King Datha reigned over that I had to find by translating the book from the Datha Island website by putting it into ChatGPT. Now, did you all do that? Did you know there was 500 tribes? How did it become one Geechee tribe? How did all of a sudden that Geechee tribe become a Gullah Geechee tribe? And now how all of a sudden that Gullah Geechee tribe become Gullah Geechee from Kisi Ngola and have nothing to do with the 500 tribes that King Datha reigned over in goddamn Chikora before it became Charlestown, before it became South Carolina, before it became an area called Geechee, before the people ever knew a word to be labeled Geechee except that being the river that they knew. The Uchees would know. They would all know the word. The word has been there for 11,500 years. They've known the word. The word says it means river of the Uchees, and the Uchee Indians are part of the people who was out there in Chikora. So with no due respect, let me tell to you that if anybody is going to tell this history about these folks, it's gonna be me. Quit playing with me.